Take a risk. Jim Michael.
Whoa. Yeah.
I can change. I can't change. I want to change. I don't want to change. I have to do something. I have to do something different. You have to do something different. If you're going to make a change in your life, you are going to have to take a risk. Take a risk in not believing the negative things that you were taught about yourself when you were kids. When we take those negative messages with us into our adulthood, we continue to play small. And when we play small, we can't risk to find out who I really am, who we really are, what we can be. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, I'm going to tell you some times in my childhood and in my 20s when I learned to play small, and then when I learned to take a risk to make my life happen. I wasn't taught as a kid that I could do anything or be anyone. No, that wasn't the messaging I got. I got the messaging, be a good boy. Do as you're told. Don't rock the boat. When I was a kid, I was also a small kid. And I was taught by my mom, you're too small, Jimmy, to mow the neighbor's lawn. When I was sitting at the table for dinner, my mom would tell me, Jimmy, you're too small to understand what the adults at the adult table is saying. And when I was a kid, our family would go on road trips. That's when I learned in the back of our car that I talk too much. You can go ahead and laugh, that was funny. My brother actually paid me $1 on one of those trips to shut up for the rest of the ride home. In short, I was taught to play small. My mom never explicitly told me, hey Jim, play small and don't take risks. No. That was the message. And I learned. I learned as I grew up to get jobs. I learned to put other people first. I learned to smile. But every time I would have this voice coming out of nowhere, came in my head and in my heart, it would tell me I could do something different. I could be something more. And every time that I play small, that makes me a prisoner in a cage of my own making. I love those people who knew what they were going to do right out of high school. You know any of them? My friend Sean knew exactly what he was going to do right out of the gate. He was going to be a paramedic, then he was going to be a fireman or a cop. Me, I was told, go to college and figure it out. Pretty soon after high school, Sean's an EMT, an emergency medical technician. Then, he's a paramedic. Then, he's a cop. Me? I'm still trying to figure out what my major was. And it was around this time in my early 20s that I realized I was allowed to dream. Because I didn't know. And I started having these dreams. Some were egotistical, like I'm going to be a stockbroker and rich. But other dreams were quiet. There's one dream I remember specifically because it was a very delicate dream that I told one person. I said, I might actually want to do some public speaking, change the world. Her response? What do you have to say?
Ooh.
Do I take a risk in sharing what my dream is? Do I not? Do I take a risk? Do I not? I have to take a risk if I'm going to change my life. these voices in my head kept coming around this time, this very painful time, because I found out, oh, this person who I thought was supporting me isn't there. And I thought, got to do something. The pain's too great here. Let's do something else. And it was around then that I saw a movie. It wasn't a good movie, it was a C movie. Michael J. Fox, The Secret of My Success. It spoke of a kid who 20-year-old, who didn't like what his life was, so he's going to move to New York and make it big. That's what I wanted. So I took a risk. I borrowed the family car, and I drove 3,000 miles to New York City from Tucson, Arizona. I didn't have any friends, I didn't have a place to stay, and I didn't have a job. But fellow Toastmasters, I made it. I became a daytime bartender at an Irish pub. I took my next steps towards my goals. I became an administrative assistant at the Bronx Zoo. Ultimately, I did become a stockbroker. I studied, I passed the tests, I got my first job, and I gotta tell you, it was awful. I hated it. But I kept listening now to those voices, because I knew they were going to give me direction. Look, I don't know you. I don't know what your pain is. I don't know what your dreams are. I don't know where your challenges lie. What I do know is that if you still have those voices in your head, like me saying, I can, no I can't, I can, no I can't, I can, no I can't. Those voices themselves are the change agent telling you you can. You will not be able to make an authentic change in your life unless you take a risk. Madam Toastmaster.
Whoa.